a tenant moves into a property, there must have been a series of negotiations between the house owner and the tenant. And then that would culminate in the signing of a tenancy agreement. So basically, what's a tenancy agreement? A tenancy agreement is basically a document that spells out the relationship. It's a culmination of the negotiations between the tenant and the owner. So it spells out the relationship between the tenant and the owner of the property. In a tenancy agreement, there are several clauses. You have the parties, you have the provision that deals with the owner giving the tenants peaceable enjoyment of the property, the provision with respect to the duration, with respect to the purpose of the use of the property. Is it going to be for residential purpose? Would it be for commercial? Would it be for agricultural purpose? Depends on several factors. And you also have the rent review clause. Then you have the determination or termination clause. That termination clause is a very controversial clause. In fact, it has led to so many controversies, even for lawyers, and it's a bit technical, but let's dissect the issues. Section 13 of the Lagos State Tenancy Law, passed in 2011, makes provision for the termination of tenancy with respect to the duration, the notice to be issued for a tenancy agreement. Now, but Section 13 is similar to Section 8 of the Recovery of Premises Act, passed as far back as 1945. Well, mind you, the different states of the Federation in Nigeria also have their own tenancy law, which are similar, to the 1945 Recovery of Premises Act. And even the Lagos State Tenancy Law, passed in 2011, is similar to that Section 8 of the Recovery of Premises Act. Mind you, what you should also know about the Lagos State, tenancy law is that it does not apply to Ikeja GRA, it does not apply to Apapa, it does not apply to Victoria Island, and it also does not apply to Ikoyi. So if you live in these places, what you should know is that the tenancy law of Lagos State 2011 does not apply to you. But back to the determination of a tenancy. What does Section 13 say? Section 13 says that where there is no stipulation on the notice to be issued, the following shall apply. If the tenancy is a tenancy at will, the owner is mandated to issue the tenant 1 week notice. If the tenancy is a 1 month tenancy, that's monthly tenancy, the owner is mandated to issue the tenant 1 month notice. If it is a quarterly tenancy, the owner is mandated by the provisions of Section 13 to issue the tenant 3 months notice. If it is a 6 month tenancy, that's a half yearly tenancy, the owner is mandated to issue a 3 month notice. If it is a yearly tenancy, the owner is mandated to issue a 6 month notice. Now, there's something very important. Section 13 says where there is no stipulation, where there is no provision on the notice to be issued, the owner of the property would follow that principle. So where both parties, when they were negotiating, agreed willingly, freely to enter into this agreement, and they agreed to put, say, 1 month or 2 weeks or 1 week notice to quit, both parties are bound by the provision of the agreement, because the law is that where there is no vitiating factor such as duress, coercion, and all the rest, both parties collectively and freely entered into that agreement to say, do not issue me 6 month notice, issue me 1 month notice. They would be bound by the provision of that agreement. So if by the expiration of that tenancy and the owner has issued 1 month notice, the only thing left for that tenant or for the owner is to issue a 7-day notice of owner's intention to recover property. And when the rent itself has expired, the owner is only mandated to issue 7-day notice of owner's intention to recover property.